there, movie fans. It is time for a brand new episode of FYC, your only source, actually your best source for awards season from now until March 27th, 2022. We are now in the year of the Academy Awards. Joining me, as always, as it should be here on FYC, we have the amazing Perri Nemiroff and the mighty Jeff Snyder, my friends, my colleagues, my flesh and blood lifeline here on FYC. Very excited to jump right into today's categories, which will be the supporting acting category. So we were going to get started with supporting actress, and I'm going to turn it over to Paranormal Activity to see who she has as her number one pick, a lock for a nomination for supporting actress.
Listen, I'm being stubborn right now. So This list that I'm about to give will not reflect what I have on Gold Derby because I refuse to remove Ann Dowd from my number one spot. I refuse. I will not do it. I do not care if it's not as likely as I hoped it would be. So my real number one for the sake of this show is Kirsten Dunst.
Okay. All
right.
Power
of the Dog.
Power of the Dog, Kirsten Dunst. Jeff, is Kirsten Dunst on your top five?
Just so barely, she made number one on my list.
She made number one on your list? Wow.
Yes, better than making number two.
You just say, wait, did you say just so barely?
Yeah, I was messing with you guys. I was throwing you off.
Yeah,
it worked. Is number one on my list.
All right.
Okay. Kirsten Dunst is number one on both of your lists, at least, Perri, for the sake of FYC.
I know.
I feel you for Ann Dowd. I'm right there with you.
It's not even just Ann Dowd. I feel like this is my opportunity to give this rant because I feel so passionate about it.
Go for it.
The entire ensemble of Mass should be getting nominations in these two categories.
Agreed.
All four of them.
I agree.
And we are at the point where there is only one that has a chance, not even a lock, not even a likely nomination compared to some of the other ones we're going to talk about right now. It's ridiculous.
Well, look, that just goes to show you how competitive these categories really are. I completely agree with you 100%. In my heart, all four actors from Mass, they are all equally superb, deserve Oscar nominations. But just the way things are looking, first of all, you're talking about it's Bleecker Street, I think, or
yes, it's Bleecker Street.
So yeah, so it's tough for indies like that to get the recognition. Although it is because of shows like this that maybe they can get the recognition. So Perri, get up on that soapbox and rant and rave all you want about Mass, because I will be standing right beside you. I agree with you completely that all four actors should get nominated. But for the sake of FYC, I do have Kirsten Dunst on my list. I have her down at number 4. She's not my number one.
Oh, wow.
But look, she is definitely a lock to get nominated. Just goes to show you how strong this category is. She's already a nominee for a Critics' Choice Award, as well as a Golden Globe for Supporting Actress. And she is the winner of the Supporting Actress Awards from the Atlanta, Phoenix, and Boston Online Film Critics. And she is a prior Emmy nominee for Fargo. I think that she's fantastic in Power of the Dog. I have her down at number 4. Because my number one, I just cannot get enough of my number one in this movie.
I think I can guess 2 people you have above her.
Okay.
But the third is throwing me off.
Okay, well, who do you think my number one is, Perri?
I think I literally wanted to say all 3 of the other people that I have in my remaining 1 to 4 spots. I'm going to say you're a big West Side Story fan and you're going with Ariana DeBose.
See, this is why Perri is my buddy, my pal.
This is what I would have guessed too, Mance, for the record.
Is that what you would have guessed too, Jeff?
Yes.
Really? Well, Perri, you are 100% correct.
Wow.
Ariana DeBose is my number one. I am a big West Side Story fan. I am a big Ariana DeBose fan. I could not get enough of Ariana DeBose in this movie. And that's a bold statement because I think this entire film is fantastic. I think the weakest thing about West Side Story is the performance of Ansel Elgort. And I actually think that he gets stronger as the movie progresses. But Ariana DeBose just absolutely stole this movie, even from Rachel Zegler, who's a lead actress, contender for this movie. But she just was so amazing. And she is also a nominee for Critics' Choice Award and for a Golden Globe. And she is the winner of Supporting Actress at the LA Film Critics Association, as well as the Las Vegas, Detroit, and Florida Film Critics Circle. So the question, I'm going to turn this to Jeff, is where is Ariana DeBose on your Supporting Actress nominees list?
I flipped her and reversed her with your Kirsten Dunst at number 4. She's number 4 on my list.
Yeah, she's 4 on my list too.
What is going on here at
FYC? I think Kirsten Dunst is really the only lock in this entire category.
I think there's 2 locks.
What's the other lock, Perri?
So my number 2 is Ingenue Ellis.
Okay, all right. She's my number 2.
I think that the King Richard love is something that is strong right now, and I think it's going to keep growing. And also, she deserves to be there.
Absolutely agree. I thought that Ingenue Ellis was fantastic as Brandy Williams in King Richard. She is a 2-time Emmy nominee for When They See Us for lead actress. She was also nominated for supporting actress at the Emmys for Lovecraft Country. I feel the love for King Richard. I think it's a wonderful film. And I think we all have Ingenue Ellis at number 2. Is that right, Jeff?
We do, yes.
All right. So our number 1, our number 2, and our number 4s are the same.
Yes.
I just have my number 1
and 4 inverted.
Yeah.
I'll bet you our number 3 is all the same.
Is it?
We'll see.
I don't know, Perri.
Oh no, never mind.
I bet you.
You're
You're
messing with me again.
I bet you. You're right.
Okay.
Who do you have, Perri?
Katrina Balfe.
Oh my God, this is like the easiest FYC ever. Jeff, what about you?
I had
shaking your head. Oh man, wow.
But I do think that Belfast is losing momentum.
Why
and
you're
gonna.
Oh, it is, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes.
Yeah, because I refuse to do something in the next category that I think a lot of people out there are saying is likely right now, but I will not do it.
I think I know what you're not going to do, if that makes any sense. Jeff, why is Katrina Balfe a lock for supporting actress nomination for Belfast?
I don't think she's a lock. Like Perri said, I do feel the movie losing momentum, and I think that there's like 10 or 12 potential supporting actresses this year who would be really good.
Yep.
We can talk about them more when we get to the number 5 conversation. But I think it was a pretty good year for this category. Really, when I look at the people in my 6 through 10, I could see any of them getting nominated. I think it's the BAFTA contingent that will probably carry her to a nomination for this, and that she'll get one over Judi Dench as well.
Well, I agree. I too have Katrina Balfe at my number 3. She's a nomination for Critics' Choice Association and Golden Globe, and she is the winner, along with the rest of the cast of Belfast, of the Chairman's Vanguard Award for the Palm Springs Film Festival that was canceled because of Omicron. Thanks a lot, Omicron. But our top 4s all match, even if the placings for a couple of them are a little off. And this happened in the last episode of FYC, where 4 of our leads were the same, and it came down to number 5, where the conversation got really interesting. So that opens up.
But before we move on, though, let's look at the movies that are in contention here, right? We're talking about Kirsten Dunst's Power of the Dog, King Richard, Belfast, and West Side Story, right?
Yep.
Some of these other smaller movies, I think, like Mass. I think there's one that I want to talk about when we get to number 5, and even Gabby Hoffman and Come On. These are smaller. These are smaller titles, and I think that those 4 nominees that we've talked about so far, it's because they're part of these really big popular movies.
Well, when it came to doing this category, my 1 through 4 were pretty much easy for me to do. But you're right. When it came to number 5, I have my number 5 is one that I think deserves to get nominated. It's a favorite of mine to get nominated, but it's not a lock, and it should be. So my question. All right, go ahead.
Is it Marlee Matlin?
Yes. Yes.
I like that pick, Mans.
Yeah. I just love Coda to pieces. I mean, it's actually been almost a year now since we saw Coda virtually through the Sundance Film Festival 2021. As Jackie Rossi, I think she's magnificent. Just great dynamic with this family. Great great chemistry with everyone in this family. She's, of course, is a prior Academy Award winner way back from 1986's Children of a Lesser God. She is also a 3-time Emmy nominee. So, Perri, my question for you is Marley your number 5?
No, because I'm being obnoxious about it and I'm picking Ann Dowd, even though I see her her slipping out of the race a little bit right now. But I noted down Marlee Matlin as someone who I would very much like to see in the run. Wait, do you guys mind if I just like give you my wish list? Like my personal wish list. Like
Sure, yes.
if I were the one to nominate everybody in these categories for the best supporting actress nominations, it would be Ann Dowd. It would be Martha Plimpton, and then I would go Ingenue Ellis, Ariana DeBose, and Ruth Negga.
Oh, well, that's a very different list from the list that a lot of the pundits like us.
Not that I don't think Kirsten Dunst is great in Power of the Dog. I think that in her case, that was one of the performances where I heard like so much about it, and like she's gonna go and she's gonna win the Academy Award, and I thought she was great, and I thought she served the movie well, and she had some really stirring moments in it, but. Like I walked out, and this is expectations' fault. I walked out being less wowed than I thought I would.
Well, I just want to say regarding Power of the Dog, I didn't have any expectations because I saw it back in September at Telluride. I knew nothing about it other than it was going to be on Netflix, and I thought the movie was strong. I certainly didn't get bowled over like a lot of people did, and I know Jeff was not a fan, and I don't blame him. But okay, so the question, okay, so Perri has Ann Dowd from Mass. I have Coda. Jeff is who's your number 5 for supporting actress?
All right, let me give you the rundown real quick. I wish that we were talking about the women from Stillwater, Abigail Breslin and Camille Cotton, or however you pronounce her name. I thought they were both great. I thought Gabby Hoffman was great. Marlee Matlin, loved Coda. Jessie Buckley's very good in the Lost Daughter. Rita Moreno's a possibility for West Side Story. But my number 5, as Perri mentioned, I went with Ruth Negga for Passing.
Deserving. For sure, she is deserving. Ann Dowd is deserving. Marlee Matlin is deserving. And so are the others that you mentioned, Jeff. Jessie Buckley, I thought was fantastic in The Lost Daughter. Her performance is getting overshadowed by Olivia Colman's performance because they're both playing the same character, and Jessie Buckley is playing the younger version of that character. And Perri, ever since Wild Rose, I know you and I have been big Jessie Buckley fans. I remember we were talking about that a couple years ago on FYC, but I thought she was fantastic in this movie as well. Gabby Hoffman, come on. I love that movie. Another smaller film, like you mentioned, Jeff, that deserves attention here, but we're talking 5 nominations and a lot of people who deserve it. So the question is, what do we do?
Well, let me give you the arguments here. So I think that, again, I thought Marlee Matlin was terrific, but I feel like the father in that movie is sort of the acting representative this season for that movie. That is just how voters are thinking. And I think that Ann Dowd, I think that movie was maybe just a little too small. I'm not sure if enough people went to see it. I think that the Netflix effect could really help Passing. That is the difference maker to me here.
I hear you. Right. Perri, what do you think?
And the fact that she's a past nominee for Loving, which was not a really beloved movie, and that was a lead nomination. So, the Academy respects this actress.
Yeah, and Loving was an overlooked film, but it was definitely an admired film when it came out. I think it was 2016. Perri, where do you stand on following your heart, or maybe leaning into Jeff's rationale here for Ruth Negga?
Of Ruth Negga, Ann Dowd, and Marlee Matlin, I would be beyond thrilled to see any of them get a nomination.
Yeah.
I love all those options. But if for the sake of the show, I'm giving someone a suggestion for who they should put on a prediction list, I kind of like Jeff's argument regarding Netflix. I think Passing is on the rise, whereas Mass might be on the way out. And I do think, we've talked about this before. I think when you're mounting campaigns, sometimes you put more behind the more likely nomination, and we'll get to it. But I think Troy Kotsur is the more likely nomination for Coda.
I agree with you completely. And again, what I've had to remind myself, and unfortunately, I don't listen to myself enough when it comes to, the years now that we've done FYC, is thinking with my head and not so much with my heart. If I'm thinking with my heart, then absolutely positively Marlee Matlin gets in and makes the cut. I've loved this here. And here's why. Jeff, I hear your argument. And again, Perri, I'm right there with you for everybody en masse. But I have my love for Coda has sustained its best of the year status for me for a full year. I loved it in January of 2021. It has stayed tops for me all year long.
Same here, Mance. And it's gonna get a Best Picture nomination that Passing isn't. So like I could see where if we decide to go with Marlee Matlin over Nega, that's fine with me based on that Best Picture nomination.
Well, if indeed, we're going to come back to our Best Picture predictions soon enough and see if they stick to what we did a few episodes ago. But if Coda does get an Oscar nomination for Best Picture, and I think it will, and I certainly hope it does, and I agree, Perri, with you completely about Troy Kotsur. I mean, I think that he's the lock here, like you pointed out, Jeff. I think that he's sort of the acting representation here. I don't think Emilia Jones is getting enough love for a nomination for lead actress. I mean, she should. Again, this is all in my heart, but in my head, I do agree with Jeff's argument, persuasive argument about Ruth Negga making the cut for Passing. And as much as my heart breaks to say this, my head is supporting Jeff's pick here for Ruth Negga for Passing, which, by the way, if you have not seen Passing on Netflix, you're missing out. It's fantastic. It is a terrific film and amazing performances here. So you should definitely check it out. It's on Netflix. Everyone's got Netflix. And that's probably why, she could absolutely make the cut, because not enough people, I think, have seen Coda, which is also streaming, but on Apple TV Plus. So our top 5 are Kirsten Dunst, Ariana DeBose, Anjing Ellis, Katrina Balfe, and Ruth Negga. So that's our top 5 for supporting actress. Any other thoughts on supporting actress before we move on to supporting actor?
Nah.
Well, then we are moving on to supporting actor. And since I started with Perri for supporting actress, I'm going to start with you, Jeff, for supporting actor. Who's your number 1 pick for Best Supporting Actor?
Again, didn't love the movie, but I will agree with everyone giving this kid his just desserts. Cody Smith-McPhee was very good in Power of the Dog.
Yes. Perri, where is Cody Smith-McPhee on your list?
Number 1. Again, I went in having high hopes for Kirsten Dunst and Benedict Cumberbatch, and it was Cody Smith-McPhee that was the one that just absolutely blew me away. I think he's phenomenal in the movie.
Yeah, I agree. He was the revelation here for me. And as Peter Gordon in Power of the Dog, he's already a nominee for this film for the Critics' Choice and also the Golden Globes. And he is the winner. Wow. Talk about support. Wait till you hear this. He's already won supporting actor awards from the LA Film Critics Association, the New York Film Critics Circle, the Chicago, Dallas, Fort Worth, Florida, and Boston Online Film Critics Society. So you have him at number 1, which is where I should have him, but I actually have him at number 2. So close enough. Perri, who do you have at number 2?
My number 2 is Troy Kotsur.
Okay.
I think like Cody Smith-McPhee, he is a lock. It is happening, and I love it.
All right, Jeff, where is Troy Kotsur on your list?
I've been in lockstep with Perri all day.
Yeah.
I've got Troy at number 2, and I think that they're the only 2 locks in this category.
Yes. Could not agree more.
Yeah, I agree with you. I have Troy Kotsur at number 1 as Frank Rossi from Coda. He's a nominee for Critics' Choice, Golden Globes, and he's also a nominee for the Independent Spirit Awards, which I love. He is the winner of the Gotham Award for Supporting Actor, also won the Boston and Las Vegas Film Critics Circles. Again, this is an ensemble film. Coda, I know it's Emilia Jones is the lead, but the chemistry, that family dynamic, when they're all together, including the brother and the best friend, the chemistry is so endearing and irresistible. I love this family. I love the the dynamic between this family and Troy Kotsur was a revelation. Like, I mean, look, I already knew Marlee Matlin is great. I mean, I've been a fan of her since the mid '80s, but I discovered Troy Kotsur with this film, so that's why he's my number one. But between number one and number two, we're batting 1,000. All right, so let's go to Jeff for number three.
This was a tough call. I think I ended up just trusting the Best Picture buzz overall here, and I'm going to go with Bradley Cooper for Licorice Pizza.
No.
Ooh,
No.
interesting. Bradley Cooper as a nominee? All right, wait, Perri, you're saying no?
No.
Why?
I have strong feelings about the rest of this list and limited clarity on what's really going to happen. I don't think my number three is a lock, but I gave my number three to the person that I think is most likely at this point, and that's Ciarán Hinds.
Okay. All right. Ciarán Hinds, I have at number 4. Is Ciarán Hinds on your list at all, Jeff?
Nope. I cut him.
No. Okay. He did not make the cut, but you do have Bradley. Wait, Bradley Cooper?
Bradley Cooper, I feel like, comes into the movie at this like pivotal moment when it's kind of just like, where is this going? And he just provides this breath of fresh air. And Paul Thomas Anderson, he just brings the energy out of this guy. I don't know. I thought he did. I thought it was interesting.
I think everything you just said, Jeff, is very accurate, but that doesn't make it Oscar nomination worthy.
That's fair.
I refuse. Until the day it happens, I refuse to put him on my list for this.
Okay.
I will say to Jeff's point, I have Bradley Cooper on my 6. He's my number 6. So he's in my, he didn't make my cut, Perri, but he did.
I should tell you guys, like, my list sucks. Like, my list is not accurate because I'm being an asshole about these categories. I have very strong feelings about the folks who are more so on the bubble than the ones that I want and think should get the nominations, and it's stressing me out.
Well, listen, I have Ciarán Hinds at number 4 on my list. So I say just, unfortunately, sorry, Jeff, but out of a majority.
So Bradley was my 3 and Ciarán was her 3, right?
Ciarán was her 3.
Who's your 3?
My 4. He's my 4.
Who's your 3?
My 3 is also from Belfast. It's Jamie Dornan.
Okay.
Jamie Dornan is already a nominee for a Critics' Choice and Golden Globe on this. And I'm curious why you think that Belfast is losing momentum here. I don't feel that way. I feel like Belfast is sustaining its momentum as a major contender for a lot of top categories, including supporting actor. If you're going to have possibly 2 nominations from this film here with Ciarán Hinds and Jamie Dornan, is Jamie Dornan on either of your lists, Perri or Jeff?
I refuse to put 2 actors from Belfast on this list.
So you're going with Ciarán Hinds over Jamie Dornan for Belfast?
Yes, I am.
So I also refuse to put 2 actors from this movie on my list, but I went with Jamie at number 5 over Ciarán. So that's 2 of us now, me and you, Mance, who think that Jamie Dornan stands a better chance than Ciarán Hinds.
Wow, this conversation just got really interesting. All right, so wait a minute. I just want to back up.
This guy has done good work his entire career, but he's never been recognized for it, Ciarán Hinds, and I just don't know why they're going to start now.
Listen,
that is why they start now, because it's time. Because it's time, and I feel like the voting body feels obligated at this point to pick, because that is what we do here too, and that's Little Derby Star. Like, you pick things based on whether or not they're an Oscar package. That's why we start to talk about certain movies a certain way, and I feel like deep down there isn't as much widespread enthusiasm for Belfast in that respect, but it was hyped so much right out the gate that now we're running into a situation where folks are realizing, like, it's good, but is it that good? Maybe it's not.
So I think that I could get behind Ciarán with the idea that the Academy may have a hard time wrapping its head around a nomination for the guy from 50 Shades of Grey. But on the other hand, Jamie Dornan has been shaking hands and kissing the babies and campaigning very well, whereas I really haven't seen Hinds doing that.
Okay, so first of all, regarding Ciarán Hinds, Jeff, you're absolutely right. He has been an accomplished character actor for decades, and he is fantastic in everything he does. But I feel like he's been, up to this point, he has been seen as such an able character actor that he has never gotten the awards recognition that he probably deserves for other roles that are escaping me at the moment. But I can't remember ever seeing Kieran Hines in a movie where he wasn't good. But he is getting the attention for this one because he's being powered by the ensemble and the dynamic of Jamie Dornan, Katrina Balfe, Jude Hill, and of course, writer-director Kenneth Branagh. So I feel like this is the movie where he will get that recognition. And yeah, I agree with you. Jamie Dornan, the guy from 50 Shades, is going to get nominated for an Oscar. Yeah, possibly. And I don't think there's anything out of the ordinary, or at least in this case, to have two supporting actor nominees from the same movie.
You're not crazy, man. It could totally happen. I just think that this category seems to reward these big performances, which is why I went with Bradley Cooper at 3 and someone else at number 4.
All right, well then who's your number 4, Jeff?
That would be Mr. Paolo Gucci. Jared Leto, House of Gucci.
Jeff, no.
Wait,
he's the only reason to watch the movie. I love Jared Leto and Pacino.
Look at my number 5.
No.
Look at my number 5, Perry.
No.
Yeah, Perry, talk me out of it.
No.
Talk
Guy
me
got
out of
it
it.
for Little Things last year, didn't he?
Yeah,
No,
you're right.
he didn't. He got a Golden Globe nomination,
Golden
and there
Globe,
were a
right.
lot of eye rolls when that was announced.
Fair
All
enough.
right, Perry,
You're
talk
right,
me
you're
out
right.
of it.
I think that, again, I think the only reason that it may look like Jared Leto is in the running is, again, because this was a Ridley Scott movie starring a slew of famous people who have been affiliated with the Oscars before. It was an Oscar package movie. So they automatically started off higher on the list than other individuals. So now is the time where we realize that Jared Leto stuck out in that movie like a sore thumb and didn't belong there. He was doing something, and maybe he was doing something
got the
else.
assignment. That's what the movie should have been.
He didn't. Lady Gaga got the assignment, and he did not. He does not deserve an Academy Award nomination for this performance. He is very good in other things, not this. And I think that over time, as we get closer to nomination day, you're going to see his star in this particular race start to drop and other people rise. It's not happening. There's no way.
Perry.
No.
All right, wait a minute. Hang on a second. First of all, I feel like Jared Leto's performance is the best thing about House of Gucci. He stole the movie certainly from Adam Driver, possibly even from Lady Gaga. He disappeared into that role. He was just in some ways very, very similar to Ariana DeBose in West Side Story. I just couldn't get enough of her in West Side Story. I couldn't get enough of Jared Leto in this movie. And I feel like Jared Leto is what people are really talking about with House of Gucci, even more than Lady Gaga. I think, Perry, I see your point, but I do think that he makes the cut. But hang on, this conversation is still going. So who's your number 5? Who gets in at number 5, Perry?
Just one more point about Jared Leto in that movie. I know that a lot of people are talking about him, and I will very much understand him popping for both of you and making an impression. But unlike Ariana DeBose, who pops in a movie where everything feels like it's on the same page and everything is not only standing on its own 2 feet and working well, but it is bolstering everything around it. I feel like the main reason we're talking about Jared Leto in that movie is because he is sticking out because the movie as a whole doesn't come together as well. So I don't think that is an argument that will carry him far enough to get a nomination.
Well, then who gets in? Who gets it, Perry?
Perry's only named 3 people, right?
Yeah, listen, I'm going to fully admit that these people that I'm going to name are not the likely contenders, but I don't know what to do with this category, and I refuse to put 2 Belfast actors on the list. I refuse to put Bradley Cooper on the list and refuse to put Jared Leto on the list. So I wound up with Mike Feist from West Side Story as my number 4.
Okay.
And you want me to just tell you my number 5 because it's probably obvious?
Please.
Jason Isaacs for Mass.
Okay.
I know. I'll admit it. I know.
Perry, I'll tell you this. I would be convinced to lose Jared Leto in favor of Mike Feist.
Yes.
Mike Feist.
Feist.
Again, I love Mass. I love it. It rhymes with my last name, Mance. I love Mass. And I think it is a powerful film. But Jason Isaacs doesn't get in. I mean, he should. Should he? Yes, he should. Jeff, go ahead.
Okay, Jason Isaacs is not happening.
Yeah.
I would be fine getting rid of Bradley. I don't think you can do both Belfast. I think you do Cody, Troy, Leto, Feist, and one person from Belfast.
All right, then who from Belfast? Okay,
Mike Feist was my number 6. I thought he was great.
All right, I'll tell you what. Okay. What if we kept Jared Leto? No, Perry's not going to like this.
He has to come at the expense of one of the Belfast guys. That's the problem.
Okay, so if we keep Jared Leto, put in Mike Feist, who deserves it. I agree, he was terrific. He was absolutely terrific.
Yeah,
and
you're asking yourself, who is that guy? By the way, I thought David Alvarez was great too.
I agree.
Good. And if anyone's seen American Rust, if you see him in that, and then 2 weeks later you see him in West Side Story, it's like, how is this even the same actor?
All right, wait a minute. Let's back up a second here. So who from Belfast do we lose? Perri.
My thought right now is that Kieran Hines is ahead in the race and the more likely of the two, but I don't want it to sound like I don't care, but I'm having a hard time caring between the two, if I'm being honest.
Yes, I don't either.
All right. Okay.
What's the other scenario? We do both the Belfast guys. We just take off Leto, and we do Feist over Leto because I think Leto's getting in.
Honestly, that end result of this episode would make me happier than keeping Jared Leto in.
But Perri, I hear you.
He's so fun.
You've got to think, be smart, engage the brain, not the heart.
Honestly, even my heart is very loud right now. I know that. But even my brain thinking this through and thinking the likely end result, I don't think that his performance is going to be well received by the voting body. I think it's, man, I don't want to use this phrasing because I do understand and want to respect the folks out there that genuinely think he's giving a good performance, but it's almost like the joke of it is what's catching fire right now and creating the conversation, if you know what I mean. And
I hear you. Yeah.
I don't think that's going to be rewarded in the end.
It's not a bad point. We're talking about 4 guys for 3 slots. So can we at least find a favorite out of the 4 guys?
Well, before I'm just going to throw a wrench into the machine here. Okay. So Perri, look, you mentioned Jason Isaacs deserving. Absolutely. 100%. Yes. Will it happen? Not really. What about, listen, Jeff, you're talking about Bradley Cooper. What about John Bernthal? He was terrific. He was so good in King Richard. Wait a minute. What about Ben Affleck in The Tender Bar, which he was terrific in that film? What about Woody Norman, the kid from Come On, Come On? People were like, whoa, who is that guy?
I thought you were going to say Richard Jenkins first.
Richard,
but no one's really seen The Humans, which is why I have push that one aside.
Yeah, no one has seen it. Or Jesse
Jonah Hill and Don't Look Up.
No, Jonah Hill.
But he was the scene stealer. He was
funny.
J.K.
Great. All right, let's get back to okay. All right, so we definitely have
Brutal. Let's put Alex Wolff for Pig on the list.
He was great.
I kind of mean it. He's very good.
Let's put the Pig for Pig on the list. All right, so Troy Kotzer is in. Cody Smith McPhee is in.
Yes.
That's all we got.
Yes.
That's all we got. After this conversation, that's all we got. All right. Okay. Here's what I think we should do. I think we should pick one of the 2 Belfasts, and I'm leaning towards Kieran Hines over Jamie Dornan. How do you both feel about that?
That's who I'm leaning towards.
Sure, whatever.
Just like whatever. All right. Jared Leto. Jeff, are you with me that Jared Leto deserves to be in this category?
I think absolutely yes.
And now, do you agree that he will, with me anyway, that he will get nominated? I think he will.
I think he will too. I think it's just the nature of the category.
Well, I say that we keep Jared Leto in and add in Mike Feist.
So Feist over Dornan.
Feist over Dornan. Yeah, actually, yes.
Having Mike Feist in there makes me happy enough. Fine.
But Perri, it makes you happy. But is it
happy enough? Happy enough.
Is it realistic that Mike Face?
No, I don't think so. I don't think anybody knows who this guy is.
They should, though. He's so talented.
I agree. See, now I'm leaning towards going back and putting Jamie Dornan back in this list.
No,
For everyone watching, tell us what we should do. Which of the Belfast gets into supporting actor? Does Mike Face deserve to be here? And what about Jared Leto?
I think this is the most stressed I've ever been with putting one of these lists together with you guys.
At this point, I'm with both Belfast boys and Jared Leto, and Mike doesn't make the cut only because people don't know really who he is, and they don't know who Troy Kotsur is really either. So if one guy's getting in, it's going to be Troy.
Perry,
I don't like it, but I have to play ball with you guys, and I'm being outvoted here, and I know it.
The only thing is that Leto is not Gucci's not really an Oscar movie, and West Side Story is.
Yeah.
All right, listen. This is tough. I have to say that of the 4 seasons we've been doing FYC, this is the most conflicted.
Our 5 slot for Best Supporting Actor?
Because I am listening to my heart. I feel you, Perry, all the way. I get your arguments and get where you stand and why you want Jared Leto to not be here and Mike Face to be here. But I just and look, here's the consolation. Obviously, just like we've done every year on FYC, we are going to revisit these categories before the nominations are announced. So, by the way, do you know when the nominations are going to be announced? It's like February, right?
First week of February, yeah.
First week of February.
All the dates, I think.
I think it's the February 8th or so.
Okay. All right. So we have more than a month to change our minds on this.
Too. It's crazy.
The nominations. Don't
Perry's
look at me
looking
for a
it up right
second. Oscar nomination voting begins. Wait, please make sure I'm looking at the right. I'm not looking at the right date. Ignore me. I'm looking at last year's schedule. I moved all this over to a Google Doc. I will get there eventually.
All right. Well, first of all, so if we go with supporting,
it's the 8th.
What's that?
It's the 8th.
Okay, it's the 8th. All right. Supporting actor. Then we got Troy Kotsur, Cody Smith-McPhee, Kieran Hines, Jamie Dornan, and Jared Leto.
Leto's in the 5 slot. I'll give you that, Perry.
Fine.
All right.
Fine.
There you have it, folks.
I feel like there's a bet that can happen here. What was the bet that we were going nuts about last time?
Last week?
Last episode.
Oh, geez. What was that?
Jeff, you were really into something.
Oh, man.
I can't even remember what I watched yesterday, so I feel bad for putting you on the spot right now.
I don't know.
Perry, are you willing to bet on Mike Face?
I'm willing to bet that Jared Leto doesn't get a nomination. That's what I'm willing to bet on.
Jeff?
I'll take that bet.
All right, what's the bet?
I'll put $20 right now on Jared Leto.
Is there a bet?
I'll just do it outright. Like, I don't need you pick Mike Feist or something. Like, I'm just going to bet that
you have the field. I have Jared Leto's in. You have Jared Leto's out.
Fine. Yeah. That's
all
it.
Right.
That's
there it is, ladies and gentlemen. There's our bet for FYC season 4. By the way, that's just the first bet. We could have a season of FYC where we have more than one bet. But right now, leading up to the Oscar nominations on February 8th, our first bet is Jared Leto gets nominated, Jeff wins. Jared Leto does not get nominated, Perry wins. But for the sake of our 5 contenders, our 5 nominees, Troy Kotsur, Cody Smith-McPhee, Jamie Dornan, Kieran Hines, and Jared Leto, those are our 5 choices for supporting actor. Let us know what you think of our nominees for supporting actor and supporting actress. Comment below and make sure you hit us up on social media. Where in the world on Twitter and Instagram can people find you, Perry Normal Activity?
You can find me at Nemiroff, and you can find me right here on this channel. And I'll also plug a ladies' night, because when Ariana DeBose was in prom, I was like, I need to have you on the show because you are going to be something special. And look what's happening right now.
Look what's happening. Perry called it. That's right. Jeff, where can people follow you?
The InSnyder Plus, and I'm writing for Below the Line these days. BTLnews.com. Check it out.
Very, very excited. Make sure you follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Movie Mance. Once again, please make sure you share this episode of FYC with everyone you know who loves movies. And that's basically everyone. We all love the movies. We love talking about the Oscars. We are so excited to keep the show going. And we are so grateful to Perri Nemiroff for saving FYC and putting season 4 on her YouTube channel. So big thanks to Perri for keeping us going. And so we can have this conversation and we can have this newfound bet over Jared Leto. Does he get in? Does he not get in? Comment below, hit us up on Twitter, and let us know what you think. And be sure to come back next time for our next episode of FYC. And until then, FY, see you later.